Buarque has spent years in the trenches of Hollywood's biggest action films, stepping into the shoes of Bruce Willis as a stand-in and photo double. His big break came in Live Free or Die Hard, and from there, he became a trusted presence on the set, doubling for Bruce Willis in Once Upon a Time in Venice, Deadlock, Death Wish, and much more. I've been trying to get you on here for some time, and finally timing has worked out. It's great to have you on the show. Why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself to the viewers, who you are, what you're about, and your history, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, man. Again, I appreciate you having me on the show. The name is Eric Barkey, and had the opportunity to work with Bruce Willis, 13 films and 20 commercials. So,
That's
yeah,
impressive.
had a good run with him. Yeah, anyway, I mean, I've got a journey that stretches all the way back to about 1998, 99. Not all with Bruce Willis. Took me about 6 or 7 years to actually finally land a role, as his stand-in photo double. It was setting me up all that time it took me to get in with him, kind of preparing me for the that opportunity to work with him.
So, how did you get started in the business, and how did you say to yourself, "Well, maybe I should do follow this Bruce Willis thing"?
Well, I mean, for me, like I said, it started probably about 98, 99. Actually, let me back up. The first Die Hard. So when that came out, that's when I started hearing, or people would come up to me and just kind of make comments, man, to me, like, dude, you know who you look like, right? And I'm like, no, who? And so that's how people started telling me I resemble Bruce Willis. And the more I started looking at him and looking in the mirror, I started kind of seeing, maybe there is something to this. And at first, I mean, I really didn't see it, but the more I started paying attention to him and his look, and then kind of looking in the mirror, like maybe they're on to something here. So, I was a big fan of Bruce, especially after the first Die Hard film. Not so much, I didn't really pay much attention to him in Moonlighting. I became a fan after the first Die Hard. The more I started thinking about it, like, man, maybe there is something to this, and maybe I could, maybe I can get an opportunity to work with him. But, it's just not that easy. So
Well,
it,
yeah.
it took me about 6 years to grinding and pursuing it to finally get my big break with him.
So, how did you start? So you decided, you know what? I'm gonna go to Hollywood. I'm gonna double for Bruce Willis. What was your first steps? What did you do?
So, I mean, again, backing up, I mean, when people started coming up to me saying, "Dude, you look like Bruce, you need to do something," I really didn't know what to do. So, I was actually kind of fortunate because the guy that was living next door to me was a photographer for the government. And
Oh,
I mean, when I say photographer, I mean, he was a big shot in the government. Like, he worked down in the White House,
oh wow.
down on the Capitol building. So he was around all these dignitaries, presidents, celebs. Um, so he even said that I looked like Bruce Willis. Somehow we struck up a conversation about that. And then he kind of mentioned, asked me if I'd be interested in coming down to his studio down in DC. And he said, listen, we'll shoot some, get you some headshots made up, and we'll let the government pay for it. So I'm like, that works for me, because at the time back then I didn't have a whole lot of money. It was perfect. So anyway, I got the headshots made up and got into the phone book. If it, in, not too many people, not too
Yeah.
many of the younger people know what that is,
Right,
but
right, 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 right.
got into the phone book and found a couple of like modeling agencies, and we had one big casting director in Baltimore,
Okay,
and I'm in between DC and Baltimore.
okay.
So anyway, I found this lady. Her name was Pat Moran Casting. So I mailed her a headshot, and I mailed this modeling agency a headshot. And I didn't hear anything for a while. I mean, it took several months. It might have been a year. And then I got a call from a lady at the modeling agency. She called me up. She's like, "Oh my gosh, where are you? And are you available for a audition?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm available. What film? Unbreakable." So the film Unbreakable. So this was in 2000. So again, it took me about a year to finally get a phone call, and I did. And so, I went up to Philadelphia with this agent and auditioned for the film Unbreakable. I didn't get the role.
What was the role? What was the role?
The role was to stand in photo double for Bruce Willis. So I was just super excited to finally, somebody was taking notice and paying attention. And anyway, when I got there, I really didn't know what to expect because I've never been to an audition before. So I thought that they just wanted to look at me just to see if I looked like Bruce, maybe our measurements or whatever are similar. So it was a little bit more than that, where, when I got there, I mean, the waiting room was packed because this casting director, Mike Lemon Casting was the name of the company. They had several people there that were there. Some of them were there for the film Unbreakable. Some of them were there for commercials or whatever else that they were also casting for. So I just never forget sitting there. I mean, the place was packed and I was extremely nervous. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. So I just kind of sat there like this and peeping back and forth and this one guy to my right, he kept staring at me. So he gets up kind of nonchalantly and walks over to the water cooler, comes back. And then he just finally said, "Look, man, I don't mean to keep staring at you." He said, "But your profile is spot on to Bruce Willis." And I said, "Oh, okay. All right." Well, I was feeling pretty good at that point, because not only was he staring, but there was other people that kept looking at me like, why is
Oh my
they're probably
God.
thinking, why is he here? So anyway, he says, "Listen, this lady that you're here to see, her name's Diane Heary, I think her name was." He said that I'm good friends with her. I do a lot of voiceover work for her, and I'm here to actually do a commercial with her. He said, "But I got an idea for you, you and I." He said, "I do these funny car commercials, and here's my card. I'm interested in doing a commercial if you are. Give me a call." And so I took his card and, kind of put it in my pocket. And then my name got called to go back to see the casting director. So anyway, I got back there. She hands me a script, and I'm like, "Oh man, listen, you know how it is, man. It's I've never been in front of a camera before. I mean, she hands a script to me. I mean, it was something brief, but still, it was intimidating, especially having that lens stare at you. So, I read for her, and she said, "All right, well, thanks a lot for coming in." Just short and sweet like that. And I said, "Well, what happens after this? I mean, are you guys going to call me, or how does this work?" She said, "If we're interested, we'll call you." I said, "All right, cool." So I didn't leave there cocky. I left there feeling pretty confident that maybe I'll get the part. But I never got a phone call.
The part, you mean the stand-in situation?
Correct. I never got a call from anybody saying they were interested. The part that Bruce Willis, I don't know if you saw Unbreakable, but they go back in time as and they needed a younger Bruce Willis for the film. So, it was a small part. They probably could have worked with me a little bit to get me prepared for it. But never got a phone call. So, that was kind of like my first taste of rejection, and it didn't feel good. But about a year later, I get a phone call from this guy that gave me his business card, and his name is Joel Gibbs. So he calls me up and he said, "Hey, Eric, do you remember me?" And I said, "Yeah, I never forgot you." And he says, "Well, we'd like to have you come up." Again, they do these funny car commercials in this area of New Jersey, Cherry Hill, I think it was, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And everybody in the area knows them because they're like a spinoff of like Dan Aykroyd and Steve Martin with the Wild and Crazy Guys. So just silly car commercials, and they did a lot of spoofs with other celebrity lookalikes. So anyway, I go up to Philly, and they actually have a young kid commercials about the Sixth Sense. So it was a Sixth Sense themed commercial, which was really cool. So I get up there. They have a boy that looks just like the kid in The Sixth Sense, and actually he was supposed to double for Haley Joe Osment for that movie, and some contract stuff fell through, so he didn't get the part. So both of us, hoping to get into a Bruce Willis movie, well, we didn't make it, but we did get this commercial. So we shot this commercial, and it was a lot of fun, and it was that scene where, the boy's hiding underneath of his covers, and he's got to
Yeah.
tell the doctor what his secret is. And so they shot me profile and some over the shoulder shots, and maybe a wide shot. We had a great time, put this thing together. And then, a few months down the road, that it aired on TV in that area. Joel gets a call from that casting director that he's good friends with, that I went in to audition in front of. And she says, "Joel, how did you get Bruce Willis in your commercial?" So he was just like flipping out, like, "Listen, that's Eric, the guy that you passed over for your movie Unbreakable." So she was like blown away by, the resemblance and the commercial that she saw. So it was kind of a bittersweet thing, but that's kind of what got the ball rolling for me.
Okay.
And then I started getting some phone calls from Pat Moran casting for HBO's The Wire. I don't know if you remember that show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wire, sure.
It ran, I think, 5 seasons. So this was the second season. So it was really cool because it was like my first time on a movie set. Yes, I was doing background acting, extra work, and but you got to start somewhere, I did a bunch of days on this show, and they always made me a cop, which was cool. They always made me a cop, and then they actually made me a longshoreman because they were down on the loading docks in the second season. So it was a great time. Got to meet a lot of cool people. Um,
How long were you
and
on the show?
it was a couple weeks. I mean, a day here, a day there, maybe 2 days. But it was a great experience for me. Like I said, working around some pretty big names and just watching how they do things. How the whole set process works, and who's who, what's what. So then I get another call from Pat Moran maybe a few months later for an HBO film called A Shot in the Heart. So anyway, I go down. It was some kind of 70s theme. So we're all dressed up in these cool 70s clothes. And I'm in between they put me in between these two actors during this one scene. And I'm looking at the one guy like, man, I recognize this guy from somewhere. And I was like, oh man, that's the guy from Gone in 60 Seconds. So it was Giovanni Ribisi. So I was next to him and another guy named Elias Koteas, I think his name was. He was in a couple movies. I think I saw him in a Schwarzenegger film, one or two of them. But anyway, they put me right in between these guys. So just watching them do their thing, and it was just part of the experience. And that's what got me prepared eventually down the road to finally get in with Bruce. So a couple years later, I constantly was on the computer as much as I could to try to find out where Bruce Willis was working, where he was filming, so I could send my next 8x10 in and hopefully
Yeah.
land a job with him. So I found about 2004 a film called Hostage was
Hmm.
in pre-production in LA. So I sent some stuff out to casting director out there, and I got a call. So I got a call, and the guy, I won't mention his name, but and I forget the casting director's name. But anyway, I got a call. Hey, are you local? I said, no, I'm on the East Coast. Well, can you make your way out here? Yeah, I'll jump on a plane and fly out. And, if I get the role, I'll make my way out there. So anyway, the guy calls me, sets up a day and a time to meet him. And so I got into town. That was like my second time in the LA. So I didn't know anything from anything. I mean, when
What
I
year is
got there,
this?
this was 2004.
Okay.
So it was, I mean, I was overwhelmed. I mean, I got in, we didn't have GPS and all that stuff that we have now, man. I mean, you either had to stop the car. Hey, can you tell me where so and so street is, or go down and buy you a map that thick or whatever to get you to where you needed to get. So
Yeah.
I found my way over to actually when I got into town, I called this guy and he says, "Well, we're not going to be able to meet with you today." And I said, "Hey, man, listen, I just flew 5.5 hours across country. I'm tired, but I'm going to meet with somebody." He said, "They can't meet with you. And if you piss them off, you're not going to get the part." So I said, "All right, cool, no problem." Click. I hung the phone up with them. And not being, I was just determined. I was driven, but I tried to always do things the right way. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't need this guy. I'll go over to the studio myself. So I made my way over to Raleigh Studios, which is right across the street from Paramount Pictures. So I get over, park the car, walk up to the guard shack that's right there, right in the entrance, and you can't just walk in these places. You either have to be somebody, be part of the crew, or whatever. So I get there, and the guy says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm here to see so and so for the production hostage." He said, "Well, hold on, I'll call up there and see if they want to see you." So I'm standing there, kind of looking around and taking it all in, and a couple guys were working on a set, maybe about 100 yards from me. Well, they saw me standing there talking to the guy, and one guy starts hollering around, "Hey, Bruce Willis!" He starts waving, and I was smiling like, I'm getting in this place today. I'm gonna get in here today. So
That's awesome.
the guy gets off the phone. He said, "Hey, they want to see you." So he said, "Go in go up to the second floor, hang a right, and the office will be on your left." So I go in and I meet the second AD,
So
real nice guy.
the guy you spoke to on the phone was not there, or was he there?
He wasn't there. I just made my way over without him. So he was
There you go. There you
yeah, he
go.
was part of their casting group, but I'm thinking I'll just go over there myself. I don't need these people. But again, I was still naive as to how things worked, and maybe I did need them, but I just went over myself. So anyway, I go up, I meet the second AD, and then he takes me back. Actually, when I walked in the office, there on their bulletin board was a picture of Bruce Willis and my photo that I sent them.
Wow.
That was cool. So yeah, so he says, "Come on, man, I want you to meet the director." And so I go back and shake hands with the director, and then we come back out, and he starts going over, shooting schedule, like 10 days in this area, 10 days in Simi Valley or whatever, and then while he and I were talking out in the hallway, I heard the bell ring on the elevator, and somebody was getting off the elevator. We both looked. I caught his profile. Bruce Willis shows up. So I'm like, oh man, I just was like in shock. Like, Bruce is in, and so was the first AD. He looked at, or second AD. He looked at me like, good gosh, what's the chances of both of y'all showing up at the same time? So here comes Bruce, and that's the first time I've ever seen him. Actually, the second time I've seen him live, up close like that. But he comes by. He looked at me. "Hey, how you doing?" Shakes my hand, and went
Ah,
straight back to the director's office. So me and this guy, his name was Mark Carter. Me and him were looking at each other. I mean, our jaw hit the ground when Bruce showed up. It was like that was the craziest moment, man. So anyway, he told me about my schedule and said, "Listen, go get yourself some rest. Give me a call the next day, and we'll talk from there." So the next day rolls around and I call him and he's like, dude, he said, man, listen, I hate to break this news to you. And I'm like, what's going on? He said the director's going to go with his guy, who doesn't look a thing like Bruce Willis. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. He said, man, he said, I don't understand it, but that's how these things work sometimes. So I'm like, man, this sucks. I got my bag together, went over to the airport, flew home, and I'm like, I'm done. This stuff sucks. I've gotten
Eric,
so close.
when was the first time you saw him close and personal?
The first time I saw Bruce was with his band, and my wife back then, when she and I were dating, we flew up to as a birthday present for me. We flew up to New York to see Bruce's band,
That's
Bruce
awesome.
Willis and the Accelerators, and
That's
they
awesome.
were performing at BB King's Blues Club, and it was fantastic. I was so thrilled to see him. First of all, I'm a music man too. I play drums, and I love all genres of music, and so just to see his band perform and see him in that light, and instead of on the big screen, it was amazing. I still got the tickets and all from that show.
I
But that
love
was the
it.
first time I saw him. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so you go, you're disappointed. You got a taste of LA for a minute. You're back home now.
Back home and rejected again, and your feelings hurt, and I'm just like, you know what? I had a couple of people tell me, you keep knocking on these doors, and the door, they open the door and then they shut it, and it's like, they're kind of telling me that it's probably not going to happen. And then so I start feeling like, yeah, well, maybe they're right, and life goes on. I'll just keep on pushing and whatever. So I kind of started feeling like I wanted to give up on it until maybe the next day. I went to the mall, or I went, to a restaurant, and here comes two or three people. Anybody ever told you who you look like? So it starts stoking the flame again. So it just really started burning at me again, man. And I'm like, I'm not quitting. I'll just keep on pushing. And eventually,
Wow.
hopefully, God will give me the opportunity, which he did. 2 years later, I'm on the computer again, and I'm checking out to see where Bruce is, what film's coming up. Live Free or Die Hard. And guess where they're filming? This time they're in my neck of the woods. They're right here, DC and Baltimore. So I quickly, by then, I had some 8x10 saved online where I could just email them, no more hard copies. So now I'm able to quickly shoot a photo or two of myself over to this casting director. Well, she called me within a half an hour, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, where are you?" And I said, "I'm so and so, right around the corner from where you guys are doing this. Where it's like a go see or whatever they call it." So literally, it was right across the street from BWI Airport. There was a warehouse area that they had staged where they had John McClane's police cars, all the cars that were going to be in this film. Um, Bruce was coming over. Justin Long, the other actor, he was there. So I go over, and I mean, I'm scared, I'm nervous, because I'm not sure if I have any competition or so I see a couple ball headed guys that are there, and I'm like, here we go. Now I got some competition. Competition. One guy looked too tall, so I'm thinking, well, he probably won't get it. This other guy, maybe he could pass. But then Bruce's wardrobe lady came out, and she looked at me, and she handed me Bruce's clothes, not his clothes, but the same outfit that he was going to wear in the film. And she said, I need you to try this on for us. So I try it on. I come back out, and I said, do you think I'll get the job? And she said, listen, sweetheart, this job is yours. You are spot on. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I started, hey, guess what? Call my wife and called my brothers and family, and man, I was so excited. So dig this. The first AD of the film Hostage, he's on Live Free or Die Hard. His name's Mark Catone. And so when I saw him, he's like, man, dude, we never forgot you. Like, we wanted you to have this part, but, it was out of our control. But we're
It was a
glad to have
different director. It was a different director.
different director. It was this time for Live Free or Die Hard, it was Len Wiseman.
Hmm.
So it was too cool, man. I mean, I did. Let me back up a little bit. I did a lot of lookalike type gigs. I worked. I had my name with a couple entertainment companies, and so I did all the parties and the corporate party type stuff where you go looking like Bruce, shake some hands, take some photos, whatever. One of the coolest gigs was I did McDonald's, like the big corporation. They had they rented out the Planet Hollywood down in Baltimore City, which is no longer there. But so I got treated, like a celeb. I show up, got to pick out a shirt, hat says Planet Hollywood and all that stuff. So I did all that kind of stuff,
You had
before
traction.
yes, yes. And it's all part of the experience. Um, it just shapes you and molds you into who you are.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it back then, but as I look back, that it was, it was necessary for me to go through that to get me to the point where I ended up. So my mom was a huge fan of, she loved Bruce Willis. She loved him in Moonlighting. So, she would take these comp cards that I had made up and go around and pass, she'd go over to the cleaners and hand them a card. Hey, this is my son. He looked like Bruce Willis and blah. So she was like an agent for me. And she's passing my stuff out there and putting me out there. But she was such a big fan of mine. And that was, she got to see me in the beginning, but I hadn't gotten in with Bruce yet. Well, she passed away in 2004, at the end of 2004. And I
Right.
didn't get my big break with Bruce until 2006. But I'm going to tell you, Stephen, man, when I was one of the coolest parts of my whole career was when I got dressed up, John McClane's outfit, and we were filming like a week and a half downtown Baltimore City and DC. I mean, the place was nuts because they knew Bruce was there. They knew they were filming Die Hard there. And so, I mean, there was people everywhere. I mean, standing on, it looked like New York City. I mean, just people everywhere. The news, helicopters, people hanging out of their office windows, trying to take pictures. And so one of the coolest things was hey Eric, we need you on top of that. I had to stand in for everything, every shot Bruce was going to do. So we need you on top of John McClane's police car on the roof. So get it, hop up there for us. So I did. Jumped up on the hood, got up on the roof, and I mean, it was just a so real moment, man. I'm just looking at all these people taking pictures, but I was kind of like looking over top of everybody, thinking I wished my mom was here to see this.
Yeah.
So it was really, really touching moment for me, man. I mean, it brought a couple tears to my eyes, and
As you're
you know,
standing on the yeah, as you're standing on the cop car.
yeah, and then just thinking to myself, all these years of you grinding and pushing and close calls and empty promises and yeah, it was such a kind of like a feeling like you finally made it type feeling. But let me back up real quick because there's a lot to this story, but I'll
Yeah.
back up to Ladder 49. Ladder 49, I think, was shot in 2003 with some big heavy hitters: John Travolta, Robert Patrick, Joaquin Phoenix, Morris Chestnut, a whole bunch of good actors on that film. So when I got on that film as an extra, they put me in the wedding reception scene So I'm dressed up in a nice suit and what have you. And they placed me again next to John Travolta and Robert Patrick. So I'm a huge fan of John's, and I liked Robert in the Die Hard film he was in with Bruce. So I'm like looking at John, like, oh man, this is amazing. You know, I was just so starstruck with him. And then Robert looks at me and he says, "Hey, John, look at this guy next to me. He looks just like Willis." So here goes. It was a buzz around the set. We got Bruce Willis here now. So I was just hoping to get a connection. But I never did. Hoping that somebody would see me and maybe have an inside connection, but it just
Yeah,
never happened. So
that's
really, I
crazy.
got through there, man, with by the grace of God and persistence. Like I said, there was a lot of times I was ready to give up and quit, but something was still, it just was stirring in me to keep pushing, even though it hurts right now. Just keep at it.
Yeah.
And so, and then, like I said, fast forward to 2006, I finally got my big break with him, and
So
I'll
I have a
never
question.
forget. Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
You talk.
Hold
I'm
that.
not.
No. Hold that thought because I want to hear about this. So you get on the set, and then what was the process when you got the final gig finally for Live and Die Hard? You walk in. Who says hi to you? Who looks at you? How does it all come together when you're in your mind or thinking, wait a minute, this is starting to kind of be real? What can you walk us through that process?
I mean, I didn't know too much about a call sheet, other than being as an, working these other films and shows with as an extra. So you get your call sheet, you get your call time. So you better make sure you're there on time so you can get the wardrobe and get your breakfast,
Got
whatever,
it.
hair and makeup before they want you on set. So, I didn't really have a problem with it. I mean, I was actually there early, real early because I didn't want to be late. So it flowed nicely, man.
All right.
It was crazy. I mean, and then after they holler cut, Bruce would jump in his, they had a vehicle wait for him to take him over back to base camp or his trailer, wherever. And then I'd kind of hang out. I hung out with Bruce's then stunt double, Larry Rippenkroger, real cool dude, amazing driver, precision. I mean, this guy was off the hook. I don't know if you remember any of that movie, Live Free or Die Hard, but watching him take John McClane's police car, racing 80 miles an hour down the street and turning on a dime, cutting up each block as a helicopter's chasing. It was amazing, absolutely
Unreal.
amazing.
All
So I'm
right.
standing there with him one time. We're just kind of leaning on the car. People run. I had this girl run over to me. Oh my gosh, it's Bruce Willis! Ah, she's got a camera. Can I get a picture? And they were like, "Yeah, come on, hurry up, get a picture with Bruce real quick. Hurry! All right, we need you to move." But so the stunt guy looked at me like, "This is insane, man. This is crazy." So we just had a good time. And then the news shows up, and well, they were trying to get my picture. And I think at first Bruce's, his people, they didn't want him taking my photo or whatever. So, like his PR people. So they had a couple bodyguards standing in front of me, which probably made people think, man, that's Bruce over there. I know it is. That's him. So anyway, eventually they said, let him get the picture. Let the guy get the picture. And then the guy took a couple pictures of me. And then he called me that night. Well, he was a guy from the Baltimore Sun. So he wanted to do an interview with me. So we did this interview and it was cool. I mean, I'm pretty much telling him the same story I'm telling you. So the next morning I get up to go to set, stop at a store to grab a coffee. Oh my gosh, I'm on the front page of the paper. Me and Bruce are on the front page. So that was too cool to see something like that. And I mean, like the Washington Post or the Baltimore Sun.
Amazing.
It's a big deal. So I got back on set. We shot, we did our thing, and then I found out that Bruce's people wanted me to come back to LA and finish the movie back there in LA. So at the time,
Wow.
you
That's
know,
amazing.
I worked hard to get to that point, but I was a single father at that time when I finally got my big break with him, and my kids were still in school, and so I was left. I actually jumped on a plane. I mean, living with my now wife, she was my girlfriend there. But I got on a plane and said, "Hey, can you take care of them?" Well, when I got out there, the timing was off. My kids needed me, but I had a film career. Bruce was going to keep me. I mean, they flew me out. I stayed about a week and a half, but the timing was off, man. It just was not right. So I ended up going back home. I didn't finish that film, which bothered me, but I had to get back to my children and get them through school and just be there for them. And so I chose that path. And anyway, that was kind of the end of that dream for a while, and it bothered me
Because you
for
left the
years.
show? Because you left the
Yeah,
show?
because I didn't finish Live Free or Die Hard. But on the other hand, I knew I was doing right by my kids and
Mm.
doing what I needed to do for them as a father. Yeah, I was young and I was so starstruck and so driven that you kind of other things, not, I took care of my responsibilities, but I probably didn't think it all the way through like I should have. So, long story short, I raised my children. They, got through school and all is well. And then Facebook comes around. So
Wow.
I'm friends with Larry, Bruce's former um, um, stunt double, who actually got hurt on the set of Live Free or Die Hard. They had to replace him too, but that's another story.
Wow.
Um, so Facebook Messenger, whatever, I shot him a message. Hey, do you know this, that, and that? So he put me in touch with Bruce's guy. So I got a hold of Bruce's guy, and Steven is his name, and shot him a message and just said, hey man, I don't know if you remember me or not, but if you guys are still interested in a photo double, give me a call or send me a text, whatever. He got right back to me. He said, man, we never forgot you. I never forgot you. So he put, he I was in the mix again. I mean, and it took a minute for me to get back in with, like, I guess they had a film or two going on, but um, uh, 2015, that's when I was able to get back in the group.
Wow.
Finally started working again and filming in LA and Cleveland, and we were all over the place. So I ran with him from 2015 to 2021, up to when he retired.
Oh my
So
God. So you had a rocky start and you started with, a couple of false starts trying to get there, trying to get here. Um, Live and Die. What was it? What was the title of that movie with
live
Bruce?
free or die hard.
Live Free and Die Hard came around. They hired you. There was no other person considered for that role, is what you're saying.
Yeah, when I got that job, they said, this is never mind those people. This is your job. So
This
I
is your
knew
job.
that, and it got my foot in the door for them to be, for Bruce to see me, to work side by side with him. And I'm sure it made an impact on him. He never forgot me. So, if,
That's so interesting.
I mean, if it didn't impact him, I don't think I would have gotten a second
Correct.
chance
Correct. And what
10
year was
years later.
that? What year? 10 years later. Okay.
Almost 10 years later. Yeah.
So 2005 to 2015, You really got on the wagon with Bruce and his team again.
Yes, yes. And this time around, Stephen, things that, like I said, I got my children through school, and they're successful, and um, well, I had three. I'm gonna bring this up, and it's an emotional thing for me. But I had three kids, and I lost my son,
Sorry to
so
hear that.
that's a that's another, you know, something that I've gone through.
What year was that?
Uh, Michael, my son, my only son, died back in 2020
Sorry
of
to hear that.
July 14th. So it tore me up, man. And I'm still torn up, but
Yeah.
I still got to keep going on.
Yeah.
Um, where was I going with? So anyway, I'm actually, brother, I'm gonna tell you, you know, 2020 that happened to me during COVID and all that other stuff that was going on, and now I've got this unbearable grief that I don't wish on anybody. And I'm going to say this because I want people to hear this. I lost my mom back in, well, it's been 20 years now. And that hurt me. But when you lose your child, it's a whole different animal. I mean, it's a half of me, part of me is gone. So it really, it tore me up, man. And my faith, my trust in God, that's what kept me and kept me strong. And then him opening doors. I mean, during COVID, I mean, we started filming again, and even though I was grieving, it was such a blessing that God gave me to get on a plane, to leave this place for a little while, to go to another city, to work with Bruce Willis, doing the thing that I love doing, which was working with him, and meeting new people, and just a whole change of scenery. Even though I was grieving bad, I mean, I grieved for a long time. I still grieve. I mean, but I'm stronger now. But just to be able to go do these films, because it was one after another, and the commercials I did was it was therapeutic for me. Even though I'd be in my hotel room or wherever it is, like where we were, we filmed in a Lake Blackshear, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, Georgia.
What an amazing place! I mean, it was we had our own resort.
Yeah.
You remember? I mean,
Yeah, it
so
was
to
crazy.
have that, yeah, just to have that peace and quiet, guys like you, the crew that was there was just so helpful to me
Yeah.
in helping me get through the pain that I was going through. You
That's
know,
tough, man. That's hard. That's not easy.
yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, man, because if anybody hears this that has lost a child, I'm with you. It's a family that I don't wish anybody. I don't wish that on anybody. But you know, that's what got me through was really the grace of God, man. I mean, and once things settled down, like I said, my life settled down, the doors just started opening, nonstop. I got to fly with Bruce twice on his jet. Hey, listen, I came from it just being a dream to one, I wanted to just get my foot in and stand in for Bruce, to being able to be side by side with him, um, you know, on the call sheet when he was finished doing his thing, going from the bottom of the call sheet to Bruce was one and I was 1A on the call sheet. So, flying with him, traveling to all these different cities, meeting amazing actors like yourself and
Thank you.
talent like yourself, bro. I'm so grateful. And I did 13 movies and 20 commercials with him. I've
That's
been
so
to
cool.
Rome. I've been to Rome. I've been to Spain, Mexico, Canada, and all over the United States. So
That is
it was
just amazing. Go ahead.
It was just I'm just saying that it what seemed to be a disappointment at first, it turned out to be something way more than I ever anticipated it would be.
Well, Eric, I have to say, when I first met you on the set of Deadlock, uh, I I was in my own political situation on that movie, but when I got to when you and I sat there and we talked for a while, good energy, good vibe, good people, and obviously I came quite late into your career, so you managed to do so much with Bruce Willis along the way, along the path. You saw so much. So, you know, would you say, because Bruce was doing a whole bunch of studio films for a long time, he was doing big studio pictures, big brand studios, and then he started doing these independent films. Uh, what was your experience going from a studio level to a smaller independent film with Bruce Willis?
That's a good question. I mean, the studio films were amazing. It was cool. I mean, bigger set, a lot more people. But to be honest with you, I prefer the smaller, independent. Like I said, you and I and a group of other actors, some amazing people. We were all in that little small community on that resort. Nothing around us, huge lake, just nothing but beauty. I mean, those are the things I remember. I've been in LA, I've worked in LA, I've worked on the studio lots and on locations and but those and I do remember that. I had a great time doing that kind of stuff, but the smaller
Why is
independent.
that? Why is that?
I mean, I just feel like, well, a lot of the people were real, to be honest. When we go to these small Georgia towns and, I mean, just, they're just humble people, man, hardworking people. And I just, I've met all kinds, good people everywhere. But it was just something about those smaller, more intimate type settings, when
Do you think the studio films were a little bit less personal?
yeah, because it was so much more going. I mean, it's such on a grander scale, I guess. It was a bigger circus.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
it was just a little, yeah. The intimate is a good way to describe it. I mean, just more personal and yeah. I mean, I still keep in touch with a lot of those people till this day, and that's 4 or 5 years ago. So
Amazing. Amazing. So, what was the difference between doing films and commercials with Bruce? Just the experience of it.
we did some cool commercials. I mean, that's we did a bunch of a bunch of commercials for a company called Vodafone,
Uh,
which is European phone company, and those were amazing. I mean, I got to go to Rome, I got to go to Barcelona, Spain. They flew me over there. Bruce didn't. He didn't go to Spain. They flew me over, and then the following week we shot the rest of the commercial in New York. And but it was just such a good group of people, talented people, and they treated us good, man. I mean, we shot a couple of commercials right there. I don't even know if the place is still standing. And my heart goes out to all you guys out there, man, with the wildfires. But we were right there in the Palisades in the hills. I guess where Sunset ends in the PCH. We were right there, up in the hills. We filmed a couple commercials there, and I mean, it's just breathtaking sights and
so,
amazing stuff, man.
so I had obviously a very small experience with you and Bruce in Georgia. We had a good time, and I remember Bruce was having a good time. Stephen Eads was having a good time. You were there. You were having a good time. And we were having a good time, just having a meal and a couple of drinks. And you know, what was the dynamics between yourself, without getting too personal, with you and Bruce Willis as far as the professionalism and then the personal part? Obviously, they're two very different things. I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was in his circle, but I knew, but not, you know, I mean, we went out to dinner a couple times. I've flown with him, but I always was, and always was respectful. I mean, he's the boss, and I never wanted to, you know, disrespect or, I gave him his space. If you need me, I'm right here. You know where I'm
Mm.
at. So, it was that kind of relationship. I mean, he knew he could count on me, and I always tried to be my best Bruce for him, and just lighten his load a little bit. And if I could do that for him, I mean, that's what I was there for. So,
This is
um,
amazing. This reminds me of the Tarantino movie with Brad Pitt and DiCaprio, where he says, "What are you, a stunt double?" He goes, "Yeah." So you carry his load. He goes, "Yeah, you could say that. I carry his load."
I'm gonna leave that right there, but yes, I mean that's how it was, man. I mean he knew, I know he knew, and Steven knew that they could trust me and count on me. I mean, I tried to
Well,
do the best I could for him. So
from the perspective of if somebody looked like me, right, or if you reverse the shoes, if you were Bruce Willis and some guy named Eric looks just like you, how would you process that?
I mean, I think it with him looking at me in I always try. You knew me. I mean, you worked with me when I got into character. I try to look just like Bruce Willis. I mean, I get the same attitude, same mannerisms, and um, I think it probably freaked him out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I remember when I got with him on Die Hard, he was calling me Brucey. Hey, Brucey, Bruce, hey, yeah. So I mean, I think I
Interesting.
made I made a pretty good impression on him. And again, hopefully, I mean, like I said, I was just grateful to be a part of the team, the
Yeah.
ride with him, and dude, it was just, I mean, not too many people get the opportunity to do
No.
what it is I got to do. So
No.
I feel blessed and fortunate.
Very blessed, very fortunate, and just going along with this journey, you be part of this journey because you it's not just that you look like him. I mean, you guys have similar built. What is he, a little taller than you? Or are you guys the same height?
Yeah, I always said he's a little tall. They says Bruce about the same measure. I say, yeah, he's a little taller, and his wallet's a little thicker. But no, as far as everything else, down at Planet Hollywood, they had kind of like the Walk of Fame with the handprint and footprints. His hand, I got a picture of it. His hand is exactly the same size as mine.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I mean, we got the same measurements, and other
Amazing.
than him being a little taller, same waistline, and his jeans were a little longer than mine. But I mean, as far as that, same shirt, everything.
How do
So,
people besides fans being in the game, how did people who worked on the films perceive you? Like, was it warmth? Was it jealousy? What was it? Like, what was the perspective of some of these folks that
well, I mean, we get the call sheet, and sometimes I'd be on the set before Bruce would get there. And I think it wigged a lot of people out, man. They were like, I mean, I had people come up like, dude, you scared the crap out of us. We thought you were Bruce. Like, he's not supposed to be here till tomorrow. And then you show up looking but that was my job. Get dialed up
amazing,
and get into character and be Bruce. But
amazing.
I'm sure there were probably some people that were jealous, but dude, it is what it
Well,
is, man.
there's not too many of you out there. So, when it came down to when obviously he went public with his condition, and you were still making movies at the time, right? When this was, or no, you
Yeah,
stopped making.
yeah.
You start.
Well, I mean, he retired in 2022. So my
Okay.
last film with him was Detective Night, and it was in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Okay.
So that was the last time he and I worked together, and
But
um,
did you look? Because I know working on Deadlock, he was there for a couple of days, and he was very gracious as an actor. He really got into it, by the way, in
oh
the
yeah,
scenes that we were doing, those scenes that I was involved with him. He was very gracious, very kind. I'll tell you a little story about when I had a chance to talk to him. But when were you uh, I know you were doing the scenes. You were wearing his clothes. You were doing the scenes. It's the movie that I worked with you on. Uh, when his condition started becoming public, were you doing more of the lifting as far as, okay, we'll let Eric do this, and then Bruce is gonna do something else, or was it the same?
I mean, it may have become more, but I did whatever they needed me to do. So it's
Sure,
my goal was to take care of him. So if you need me for whatever, dude, I'm right here. So
amazing.
if it's
And
less, if it took the load off of him and it made him more comfortable, I'm the guy.
sure.
So they knew they could count on me, and I was grateful to do it.
So
So
when we
great.
were, so when we were in on our movie set, well, not on the movie set, but a couple of days prior, it was you, Stewart, the stunt double, and then Bruce Willis, and then Steven Eads. Anyway, we got to sit down with Bruce because they called us over. I don't know if you remember or not. They said, "Oh, come over, come over." So we sat down with him, and I don't know if you remember this, but I told him, I said, "Look, um, we studied your chemistry read tape for moonlighting when you got the job, and you were just so smooth, like just amazing, charismatic actor." And I got to tell you, his eyes lit up when I said that because
Yeah.
he didn't expect. I took him back to a time before he was going to be the Bruce Willis that he became.
Hmm.
And when I mentioned that experience, his eyes lit up, and I think he took a liking to me after that. I believe. Um, I think it was because when I did my scenes with him, he was so gracious. He was like, "Ah, there he is." I'm like, I just met him the day before.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But,
he meant it too, man. He was, just a
yeah,
genuine good guy, man. And
really
yeah,
good dude, and
you know, um, times of being on the mountaintop and times of being in the valley, and it's just you got to keep pushing. Don't quit. Don't give up. That's what I've always tried to tell people that are interested or that they know what it is I've done and what it is I've been able to do is just try to inspire somebody, whether they want to be an actor, whether they want to be a basketball player or an astronaut, whatever, is just to put your whole heart into it and give it all you got. And most of the time you'll come out on the successful end if you do things right and if you treat people right too. That's another thing. So I mean, that's always been something that I try to live by. I mean, you treat people with respect and work hard, and eventually it'll pay off for you.
Bruce had hair in Moonlighting. Did you look like him with hair as well, or did you look like him more when you were shaved head?
What was cool was he started going bald the same time I did. I mean, I never thought I'd be, bald and no hair, but it worked out for me.
Yes, yes, it did. This was a fascinating story about you, your journey, and Bruce Willis, and it's just been fantastic all around. I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Steven, I appreciate you, man, thinking of me. I appreciate you having me on your podcast, and I can't wait to hear it and keep on pushing, brother.